YOLO, infidels. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got everything you want on the headlines and all the names and all the heels and all the babies and the hat to the back ready talking about the spots in your match. It's RBV. It's Hacker Hamin. It's the Monday morning locker room to kick off another week of wrestling here at Hamin Media Group. YOLO. Morning, infidels. Yes, we are back, weathering the storm. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I know it was going down, a great weekend to be outside doing activities while they try and relock us down with more propaganda, more bullshit, more agenda push that we see right through. It's time to spit in the face of the masters and rise up and do what we want to do. And that's what we do here at HMG, Realm, Russo brand. Doesn't matter where it's going down, man. Two-man power tripping all day long with my man RBV. How's it going, bro?
Doing well, Ben. As we were just saying before we went live here, both of us well rested. We each got some sleep on a Sunday to that Monday. Hey, we're ready to get it going. Hey, but it's funny you're saying that. We're facing lockdowns here. Beautiful weather here in the Midwest. Perfect weekend that we had out about doing some stuff here. But yeah, it looks like St. Louis might be the next on the list here. As I got the news on here in the background. Many of their business fearing the mask mandate is already back, and they're expecting the lockdowns and business restrictions to soon to follow.
Well, it's real easy. You just tell them to go fucking die and shut the fuck up alone. It comes they're pushing it to that point. So that's what they want. They want to be back 20% so that
it can get a little robotic there, Ben.
I see that. I see that you here now.
So pause it up a little bit.
Check. It just never stops. And this is perfect. That's just another piece of trash. You know what I mean? Take money and in return. Take, and you will bow before us. And no longer. So I don't know if I'm robotic still or not.
No, you're good. You're good now. It came back there a little bit ago.
It still says one fucking bar. Everything is a constant frustration and infuriation to try and break you on every fucking level. Get you hooked on tech and then fuck tech up. Get you hooked on community online and then take that away and restrict your words. Whatever they want to try and do. It's just enough's enough and it's time for a change.
Speaking of, are we back on the Hamin channel? I mean, not the Hamin Media Group, your own personal channel. Are you back up and going yet?
No, I think because I tried it. When did I try it? 2 days ago, and it said till the 29th. I think I'm still banned from my own channel. You know, so great stuff. Just everybody's fucking doing good work. And, you know, they built that gallows outside of the fucking Capitol. It's too bad they don't have a bunch of them on every street corner in Silicon Valley. And that should just be a lunchtime thing now. I think going back to the old West, people can gather around and fucking march out those who thought they were the dictators and the censorship, whatever little MIT nerds that are nameless and faceless, and do one a day on lunch. I think by the time we got through about 40 of them, things might change.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, at least makes it for good entertainment there.
It worked one time, it'll work again.
Now, what it comes down to, if they again try to enforce these, either if it's regulations on how you can handle your business, if they completely go with another lockdown, where do you see the big backlash coming? I think we're at a breaking point, like we're seeing over there in South Africa. They're not taking it anymore. They're fighting back here.
France this weekend with a million people together, and also David Icke over there speaking.
I didn't pick up on that one. What went down? Anything? Or
it was a legit million-man march of anti-vax. And they started coming down the street, and there was, you know, the Nazi Stasi. You should see the French police, bro, like the body armor they have on. It's next level. It's like it's beyond like a knight's armor at this point, and just like
I pulled it up here. It looks like some storm, what is it? The storm ship troopers sort of deal that they got going on.
Exactly that, bro, and. You know, I just see a million people and they turn them back with batons and tear gas. I say stampede them, run them right over and stomp them into the fucking ground till there's nothing left, till they're just a puddle in the streets at this point, bro. that's the power of what they've. To me, I see V for Vendetta, the end of V for Vendetta. Like that looked exactly like it to me. And instead of them running over, people kind of stopped in their tracks. What's a little tear gas and a stun gun for 30 or 40 people in the front line when you got 1 million behind you?
I was going to say, I mean, you're eventually that wave's going to break through, and they're not going to be able to handle it.
And that's the answer to your question. That's what's going to happen, because they pushed it that way. They wanted it that way, and they thought they were safe until you get to them at the Capitol or what have you, and then they realize they're not for the first time, because they thought, oh, it's just a bunch of bullshit talk. Well, keep pushing it. Keep pushing it. When your head's on a pike outside your former palace, then we'll say, oh man, we should have fucking changed our ways about a year ago. Oh shit. But Olympics, man, not doing too well as well. I know that was a big thing, and just another new world order experiment to show you that we'll give you back 20% of what we took from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah.
Did you get to watch any of the games this weekend?
No.
Were you interested at all, or?
Not really, man. To be honest with you, I just don't. I'll watch a little bit, but none of it to watch these SJW athletes who want to fucking make a statement instead of paying off the 20 years of work that they've done to get to that point. It's like, no, you won't even have my attention or support at that time. And there's only a few things that I really like that wow me. Swimming never really wows me and shit like that. And some people on track are just unbelievable, but I just sit there and watch them go isn't my thing. I guess, to be honest with you, not just because they're incredible athletes and semi-sexy, is the girls who do all the balance beam shit and all, like
gymnast.
Yeah, all the gymnast stuff where they defy gravity and do it, like that impresses me. But and things like the rings and shit that I would never be able to do, pommel horse, that's all good stuff, cool stuff, but it's just like, I got so much else going on for me to be able to, if I was to have it on and just be on the other monitor, and I'm not like, yeah, gold medal for my country that is restricting my rights and freedom of speech and hurting my business. Yay, go us. And like, fuck your games, overthrow the fucking Masters. That's what I say.
Well, I was going to say, we do, when it comes to gold medals, the USA is leading the way. Actually, we're tied with Japan with 7 gold medals, but the total medal count, there they are, man. China in the lead. They have 15 medals, the USA at 14. Some of those big sports, you said, the gymnastics, the women's gymnastics, which was a highlight. People are looking forward to that. They're off to a little slow start. The team in the pool, which is a good ratings grab for the United States, they're turning some things. A little slow start, but they're starting to medal there. How about this though? The basketball team getting upset. Spain knocking them off. First time that they've lost an actual competition since 2004.
That shows that they don't give a fuck, because there's nobody that should beat America. If there's one sport that should be complete domination by the U.S., it's basketball. I mean, there is no like all these European leagues, and we've got, dude, our NCAA Sweet 16. Every team in the NCAA Sweet 16 should be able to beat every other country on the planet. So whatever they're doing laziness wise is just them being over.
When did these dream teams for basketball jump the shark? I mean, because it just seems like there's less appeal. It seems less interest from the players themselves. I'd almost dare to say the original dream team, that should have been it, because that was so exciting. The greatest team ever assembled. Maybe 1 or 2 times after that, but they've just driven it into the ground.
Well, I'd say that was a high point in American civilization in that 90s, whether it was music, the renaissance of man, the equality and interracial lines being blurred completely, appreciating each other's culture. And now the generation after them of Generation Y's kids, which I call Generation Useless, are right back to some shit that, I mean, I'm not going to try and down police brutality and what that is. I'm not saying that shit hasn't really sparked this, but those people who are doing that too are also the ignorant children who have no reason to do that. We've been through this and solved the Renaissance. We've been through it all, and now it's just reinvented problems to push racism that was already curbed. So my point is that the American Dream Team at that time with the NBA and starter jackets and shoe deals and whatever it was being at its highest peak was inspirational and new. Now everything is gimme. I'm owed this. Oh, I already got mine. So fuck that. And also, you know, I'm sure they're disenfranchised of trying to play for a country that the police could pull you over and put a bullet in your head and throw some drugs in the back of your car. You know what I mean? So there's all that intertwined with it. And the reality is people are so disenfranchised with their own country, are trying to keep up this charade of we're the home of the free and the brave. And we do this, that. Nah, we're the home of the get mine. Fuck everybody else. Be divisive. Don't stand up for what your rights are to have your own health in your own hands. And if you don't do that, then you're hurting your neighbors and you want everybody to die. And you're just so, it's just, that's where we are. And it's by design to keep us split apart, to not come together, to have a dream team where you're like, yeah, everybody of all races and colors are loving it because it's USA all together. Nah, there's none of that, bro. There's none of that Americana left. They've really beaten it and just left Lady Liberty laying. She's a $2 whore down there at the walking the strip at this point, bro. And that's how they wanted it.
Well, they've exactly gotten it. They've conditioned an entire generation there that's the mindset.
Yeah, it's generation useless. Dude, I rolled down just in this small city where I live at. Sherman-Williams Paint hiring right next door. McDonald's hiring.
It's everywhere. It's ridiculous.
Moe's hiring. Ollie's hiring. Planet Fitness hiring. Price Chopper hiring. Burger King hiring. And I'm talking wages that were $10 above what they were doing. And then people still don't want to go do it because they hooked them during this pandemic part of it all, on the welfare state and the welfare system. So they can also now put out their, fourth stimulus payment plan instead of somebody saying, get the fuck up and go get a job, you lazy cocksucker. You know what I mean? Like that's really what the message should be, but it's not every single little thing. And most places that, am I robotic or no?
You're good.
Right.
Came back in.
I see like, you know, like a nicer restaurant where you'd have a 20 to 40-year-old waiter and what have you. They're replacing them with 15-year-olds because even the 20 to 40-year-old waiters aren't doing it. And then those people quit after 2 weeks. So now the integrity and quality of the business itself is being affected, not just by not having workers, but replacing with scab workers who have no work ethic whatsoever and don't give a shit because they've had everything handed to them, bro. And they're just, it's the entitlement generation useless. And now our country is completely crippled by it. So it's the masters up top and those on the bottom that want to play video games all day and get paid for it. So
I will say it's kind of funny. And I started kind of researching it this week as it became something of real interest to me. Wednesday, we had President Biden come to the west side of Cincinnati. And what's funny about that is he was here. One of the major talking points was his economic stimulus plan and how he wants to get the economy back on track. Well, in the process of doing that, he completely shuts down the west side of Cincinnati. So almost all business is rendered useless because we have to shut down roads. We got to, redirect resources to make sure that he's taken care of. I mean, the irony in the thing, and I really started thinking about it, is what is the benefit for any local community when you have, if it be the president, any other politician traveling around for these campaigns, these rallies? I just don't see where your return on investment is there, and what it's actually hurting for 24 hours or whatever that case that might be. Those small communities, especially on the west side of Cincinnati, where it is small business, it is mom and pop. And now they're pretty much rendered useless for a day. They can't have customers coming in and out. It's a major hit. And I was reading somewhere like when Trump would go golfing or something like that, it would cost down there in Palms like up to $250,000 extra in overtime. So where are the benefits of these individuals visiting local areas? And I just see a huge negative. I couldn't find any positives really in it outside of the fundraisers for inside the private communities or the upper echelon, those caterers that might get that payday.
So we destroy their celebrity. Why are we folding for them? Where is the West Side Business Owners Coalition that say, fuck you, you old fucking career politician with a crackhead son who's indebted to China and everything else, instead of going, this election could be a huge fraud. So why would you think that you can come in here to a place just to wave and that you don't give a shit about Cincinnati, you say?
Cincinnati. Yeah. I'm done south right now.
Yeah, that you don't give a shit about us for reality and you just want it as a media op. Nah, you're out of here, B. And that's where you hold your power of, let's bring in the locals to be like, it's not just an anti-Biden thing. It's an you're not going to hurt our community thing with your big ego trip that you have to come down here and stunt for Good Morning America. Fuck them and fuck you too.
Well, I thought the entire thing that he came to the west side of Cincinnati was a complete rib. Our city's like really divided like that. We have the east is so much more liberal. I mean, they're so far to the left. The west is that old money. It's old tradition. It's Catholic based. So you got one of those liberal presidents coming over here to this area.
Sounds just like Buffalo to me.
And he goes, and then he ends up speaking at a Catholic university. So, I mean, you got the most liberal kind of sense. It's a complete opposite of what, those beliefs are. I thought it was a damn rib. But you did have, and I guess this was,
he's probably there doing some deal for child trafficking and sexual assault behind the deals. Yeah. Why would you want to go line yourself with the Catholic Church right there alone? There's the check mark of trash. And I saw a story this weekend. Catholic Church owns over 5,000 properties. How much are they paying taxes on each of those? Where's the money that's rolling in from them? None? Then guess what? Check mark, you're done. And in fact, not only that, Catholic Church, you owe us $70 billion for the last 50 years of back taxes. If I was up for president, I'd put my hands right in their pockets, shake them upside down, and all that would fall out, bro. I'm here to tell you, like, the fact that we have multi-trillionaires launching themselves into space for 11 minutes on cock rockets who pay no fucking taxes whatsoever, alongside pedophiles who fucking dress up in a robe just like I do and go, and pretend to talk to God and have people reaching in their pockets every week to keep giving them money, and they give nothing back whatsoever except from, oh, you can go to heaven because you're absolved for masturbating. Nah, you're done here, B. In Hamin's new world, all those people are hung out to dry. All the people who brought us here the last 300-400 years with their sanctimonious bullshit and handing down from generation and nepotism and politics. The Game of Thrones for them needs to come to an end, bro.
We go. How about a little lighter note here? It's Monday, July 26th. You know what that means? 1 month away, Hamin, you're going to be out here, VV, Indiana. PWA returns to action. We were excited here, making that big final push here for the last month. As we're looking forward to joining them at the Swiss Wine Festival. I did want to talk to you about, one of the things that I handle for my promotion there is where I really focus on what I'm interested on, and I guess this plays into because we are settled back into the live audiences returning, about live event experience. Maybe some of the better that you've seen, some of the people that aren't getting it done right. Where should that focus be from top to bottom? If it's AEW, WWE, down to the indies, to really enhance that fan experience, to make them feel welcome as we come back and the shows really get going.
Well, I think that's it, is getting to your crowd and not to go away from the politics thing, but show them how appreciative we are and that this is the power of unity of something that we hold dear. I don't care if it's soccer, if it's wrestling, if it's a concert, whatever, it's nobody. There is no super spreader. How about the super spreader of WrestleMania or the Super Bowl? Did that do anything? No. So their lies are exposed again and again. But when it comes to this weekend, I saw indie shows way up, man. People want to be out there. People want to do it as an act of civil disobedience. They want to get back to some normalcy, so they're going out there and spending that money, and I'm happy to see that. And I think the empowerment of that and saying yes to it, yes, to those audiences is only going to start the domino fall in motion. I liked seeing last week, 2 weeks ago, with AEW kind of leading the way, having the crowd back first, and then SmackDown, of course, and threw Money in the Bank, but then our creative took a wicked nosedive after that because they can't string 2 weeks together. Nobody can. Complete ignorance in both places. But then AEW, after their TV, wants their crowd to stay for dark after. We're like, dude, oversaturation.
What did you guys say? There was like 17 matches that they had to film for dark or something like that you and Stevie were talking about?
Indie Promoter 101, like that, further without small things like Khan stepping on business during every scene, not knowing how to get a singles guy over. Like those are okay. But when I see you go from you have pre-show matches, a 2-hour TV taping, and then you want your crowd to sit there for dark tapings afterwards, you're no better than any of the worst MD promoters in the country who don't know that you book 8 matches tops, maybe 9, but usually 7 or 8. Everybody goes 8 to 10 minutes, and the people are going to get their money's worth and leave. Instead, it's wear them out, and then the fatigue sets in. Well, he don't know that, bro. He's lower than most of the indie promoters. He's got too many yes men around him and a huge bank account, and doesn't know how to leave them wanting more. WWE, I don't know. I canceled that show in Atlanta. It was a house show with only 1,700 pre-sales sold.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
good story.
It was a SmackDown show in Atlanta. They canceled because of low ticket sales. If Big Dog wasn't going to be on there, then announce Roman Reigns and show his draw power to get them out there. You know what I mean? And do it. Instead, they just kind of gave up and went to whatever. I was watching on SmackDown. They did it from 2 places, right?
How do you not have Roman Reigns in the Atlanta market? I mean, that's where he went to school at. I mean, that's obviously, it's going to be one of his hotter spots for you.
More ignorance, more people in positions that they shouldn't have the job or are too lazy to get the other 5,000 tickets.
Well, I'm even curious how many of those creative writers know that that's where he went to school. He was at Georgia Tech.
Next to zero. Like any of these things that should be easy tricks to get them over. How about they had it? Where was it? Cleveland this week, and then they split the time between Miami at the rap concert. Rap concert had 200,000 people there. It was great to see that crowd. Then they set up the ring, which must have been brutal while you're standing there sweating your ass off in Miami at a show. They got ring crew comes out, which is going to be a 20-minute setup minimum. And I don't care how fast they are. And then, hey, cue the hip hop street profits. And nobody's popping for the match whatsoever. Then Bianca Belair comes out at the end to go down the big thing and dance and whip her hair around. They go to commercial. And like the crowd there wants Bobby Shmurda or whoever to come out and do his hip hop shit they paid it for. 2 minutes they must have sat there and watched her whip her fucking big hair extension around before going in and beating Carmella. 200,000 people, not one hand in the air, like, yeah. They're all just standing there fucking looking at phony ass wrestling, bro. So even the presentation is egregious.
I would say even, and you feel bad for the talents there, but were they even recognized? They have refused to build these true stars and outside of their brand, and no one cares about their brand anymore. They didn't know who the hell these people were.
They had no idea who EST is. She had to go out and cut the promo and do something to put over the rest of the hip hop guys. She's like, who's here to see Bobby Shmurda? Woo! Who's here to see whoever the fuck, right? And then you go, before they come out here, I'm going to beat this bitch's ass. My name is Bianca Belair. I'm the EST, and do her whole promo and then bring out Carmella to set up. No, it's just her dancing on the thing, whipping her hair around. People are going, who the fuck is this backup dancer for Chris Brown out here, bro? Like they think wrestling's over.
I was just going to say, is that just their own ignorance inside their own bubble that they actually think that they're
100% that they are delusional that they think anybody knows who Montez Ford and Dawkins are and fucking Bianca Belair. And the only reason they sent them is because they're the black stereotype of WWE and they thought they'd get over. So more racial tone deafness for them.
You've got this partnership. You're with WWE. You hear of this partnership. How do you handle it? I mean, because then you realize this is a good opportunity. You said, 200,000 people? Let's get some exposure. Yeah. Let's get some stars out there. Let's build a bridge here. How should they have done it?
That's them thinking Wale is over and he's like a D-list hip hopper at best, you know what I mean, to try and give it some credibility. If you're going to build to that, then you have the rappers who are on Did we not just have a whole goddamn thing with Cardi B and Carmella? Did we not have a whole goddamn thing with Soldier Boy and fucking Little Bow Wow and them? Like, why wouldn't you lead up in the 3 to 4 weeks knowing this big 200,000 show is coming and have a shitty 6-man match with Wale as the referee and the hip hop stars that you want to be in there to get the pin after Dawkins and fucking Ford do the deal with Otis, and you got Soldier Boy on one side and Bow Wow on the other. You teach them a couple spots, train them for 3 weeks, and now the hip hop crowd is going to be into the match because they're there for the hip hop, not EST's hair extensions, and put it over that way, bro. Like they can't even do the minimum basic of how to get their own guys over along other superstars outside of their wrestling bubble. They just go, cool black guy, get out there. Okay, and then let's see what goes on.
They're going to love you.
Yeah, and you got 200,000 people in Miami when it was, 96 this weekend there, sweating their tits off, going to go, oh, I can't wait for this wrestling match. No, they paid their ticket to see the rappers. You have to mix it in, but so ignorant, so complacent, so thinking they're over WWE, and that's why 200,000 people didn't cheer on either of those pins whatsoever.
Now, as we kind of go down and is with the more indie shows are opening up, people are getting back at it. You're going to be here with us in a month for ours here, which is it's kind of similar to those situations. I mean, a totally different scale.
Sorry, but this over because that's the point we talked about in the SmackDown Live Survival Group. Frank's got it. Cena's at WWE in Cleveland doing the Shill 2006 promo, which Reigns cut him down beautifully for at the end. Why wouldn't Cena come out? Who's beloved by all races, comes from that time and is more accepted by black culture than probably, Dawkins and fucking.
Well, at least they're gonna know who the hell he is,
and let him battle somebody, bro, or cut the promo and get it over. Like the place is gonna go off. That again shows complete ignorance on booking wise and all that shit. And he could have done that there, and Reigns still could have cut his promo in Cleveland, bro.
So, hey, that's a great point. Why the hell you got him in the wrong city? What the hell? You're going to draw up in Cleveland anyway because it's a wrestling bubble. You're not going to have to go over the top there.
Shit to do in Cleveland. You're going to go to wrestling or not?
It's a great wrestling area too. They're going to go to it, but like you said, there's nothing really else going on. I don't know. It's Cleveland.
It's just ignorant management position ignorant management decision upon decision that gets nobody over, wastes everybody's time, and just feels like, ew, wrestling is so stupid.
So for us, let's say, the complete opposite end of the spectrum, a small indie show, we're going to a festival where maybe a whole lot of people, that wrestling thing. Yeah, I used to watch that. What's something we can do in a month's time to make sure that we're drawing, people the attention over that they want to come see us as part of the attraction? Instead of going to the food court row or to go ride the Ferris wheel, what are we going to do to bring them to the wrestling?
And that's a great point. I would say you have to have people engaged with them earlier on. That's what it is. It's the pre-promos. It's the package of, I can't miss that guy or girl because they're going to be on the show and see what it is, Also, what can we do to incentivize them to make sure it's not there? Is there some upsell or, some giveaway? Free's always the best price, you know what I mean, to be there, especially on an indie show where they don't know really any of us except for some diehard wrestling fans. If we're using wine or whatever it is, if you bought a ticket for this, you also get X to go back over and do something else fun. So they say, wow, that was a great show. And I got this. I got over on everybody else who didn't go to that show. All types of incentive bonuses as well before the show even starts, So I think go ahead.
Well, we do have, that was one of the ideas we pitched to him. I said, can we have extra time to introduce, our talents to the audience? Can we do that meet and greet? We have that, an hour before our show. Obviously you're sitting in the main event, one of the main events going for the title, give Hamin 5 minutes in that pre-show to get people fired up, to make sure they stick around, to come back.
Sure.
To get his, to get his butt kicked. We reason we're doing the Doink Act for those kids early. We're going to have face painting at our area for those kids.
Perfect.
We're doing. I don't know if you ever seen the show. It was called Beer Money, and it ran on Fox for a while. And what they would do is they'd go to these local sporting events, these bars, and you had 3 trivia questions. So you'd win like $20, $40, $60 if you could get through them. We're going to do something along that, turnbuckle trivia, something like that, where you can actually win money. Then we've been kicking around. We're looking for a prize. If you're there at the beginning of the show, at the meet and greet, you're going to get a raffle ticket. And if you're there at the end of the show, you're going to be eligible to win, something like that. So it hopefully have you stick around.
I think all that is great stuff, especially with an indie show, like I said, where you might have limited known talent. You have to do all the 50-50 and all the shit that you can do that's going to make it a fan interactive experience, not sit there and watch us. We're over and you'll cheer for us, bro.
Well, that's what I've seen, and I go to quite a few indie shows, and that's what I study. Even when I go to WWE, the first thing I'm doing is, okay, what's this live event experience? They do early anything. It's supposed to be, okay, our ring setup, that's your attraction. That's why you're here. I think, when you're competing, there's a lot of entertainment avenues out there, and it's a tough competition. You really got to maximize that experience for everybody, and especially in wrestling. You keep those kids excited. They're the ones that are going to keep spending money and keep bringing the parents back.
And it has to be an interactive experience that moves along. Well, a lot of times we'll have these ideas and then they stop in the middle to set up a cage and 20 minutes goes by and people are like, dude, maybe you should go. Like, nope. You, as a greater producer, as the director of the show, you have to know this goes, and it moves and takes them on that roller coaster ride. So when they leave, they're going, wow, that was action packed and awesome. Not like, oh, dude, 20 more minutes till the main event. That's 80% of the shows I'm on, bro. You know what I mean? And that's the ignorance of promoters who don't know how to create an experience. The experience of the indie show is all for their own greater. Look at me, I'm the Vince McMahon of fucking whatever in their own mind, bro. And that needs to be gone because the Vince McMahon's already doing that, and it's not working out well for him. There needs to be a far better fan experience, and that's the first thing is look it through the fans' eyes. What's gonna really wow them, and then take them one way and then take them another way in anger, and then give them something back of being like, man, I'm so glad I'm here, because if I wasn't, even if I wouldn't have had the chance to win that car from Carbone Honda or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So all that needs to be taken into account before the bell ever even rings, bro. You got all those wine people there. How about, if this person wins and you had the ticket for them, you're entered in to get a case of wine from wherever, and it's on the line of all that kind of stuff. I
have been trying to work in some kind of gimmick where we can kind of coincide with each other, because they have a pretty cool event that evening. They start off, they have their grape stomping, which will be kind of running kind of in, close to the wrestling event.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's going on after us, during, exactly when, or they run it through the evening, but I was checking out some of their footage and the other attractions they have. That seems really cool. I mean, we could get something where we can intertwine
a wrestler in there to do the grape stomp, and so people see them and you hype it up. And this is the Ohio Midwestern champion almost, and he's doing this, that, or the other. And you set it up to even make that a competition between him and a heel. Baby goes over, place goes nuts. But now you've informed that everybody there at the grape stomp that there's a rivalry, that there's a wrestling show, and we've crossed over into this little thing and that thing, and we've made the grape stomping hopefully more entertaining because we're bigger characters than maybe, I don't know, unless Stomper Smith shows up, who's been stomping grapes since 19 fucking
Sideshow Bob shows up.
Right. But then those people who are now like, oh, there's wrestling, who come to the wrestling show, what should the dude do that won, that's going to win the match, that was in the grape stomping thing? What should if you have, let's say, that Omos dude or whoever, Osmosis, whoever that guy Amos fucking on the show, and he wins at the grape, or he does something at the grape stomp thing and makes everybody in the match, what should he win with?
Whatever, the stomp,
the stomp, or a suit, like
whatever. What's Finn's move? like the double stop, something along those lines.
Yeah, or a super kick, something with a foot in the face, right? Or the Seth Rollins stomp, or that, because we've established him to our audience. Not, hey, he usually wins with a fucking kryptonite crunch. He's got to win with that. No, dude, we just conditioned everybody, and he won over there. Now the people coming over, we can tell that whole story across the board for an interactive fan experience of that. You know what I mean? It's just the simple things where we got to give up our egos to do what's best for the show and for the crowd. And nobody's asking that question. Instead, it's get Bianca Belair out there and whip her hair around for 3 minutes in the 95-degree heat. That'll get over. No, it won't. No, it won't. Not ever.
I will say, as you mentioned, going back to kind of, Dynamite got it going. That crowd was absolutely the MVP of that show when they came back, and you've seen it kind of continue to smack down, as you said, through Money in the Bank. But then by the time we got to Raw, they were dead again because
the Raw is shit, and it's 3 hours. And I got to say, they weren't the heroes of that show, because in Money in the Bank, what was our undercard opener?
Oh, what did open at Money? I can't even recall.
Usos over for the titles.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Which is a huge fuck you to your audience, because they just watched this guy get a DUI, his third one, not his first, his third one on camera. And then you're going to reward him with the title because it's been in a storyline that we know is heading to The Rock. So the fans didn't DUI when he came out, or you suck, any of that based on what happened in reality. They went, yay, the Uso Penitentiary's back because live crowds are back and we can't be controversial and hold this guy's feet to the fire. And then WWE doubles down and goes, we'll put the belt on him, and they'll be complacent because they want this bread and circus back so bad that they won't hold their feet to the fire, bro. So I say smoke all those fans right there. They set a bad standard by not holding that guy accountable and taking over the show to make it a real experience of reality. Instead, they clapped and were complacent and just wait till he murders one of their family members on the road. Then we'll see how complacent they are. Luckily, nobody got hurt this time around. So it's just a little slap on the wrist, and now we'll push you and make you an even bigger star, bro. The crowd didn't do their job whatsoever. So I don't put them over at all in that week, bro, to be honest with you.
Did you see where on the NXT that they had to go reshoot or heavily edit Cross's entrance because of the Jeff Hardy chants?
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I
guess when he had made his way out to confront Joe, I mean, it was just overwhelming. So I don't know if it was heavily edited or they had to reshoot something along those lines. But yeah,
surprised they didn't leave him in there, because this whole thing, and that's the other thing too. And I don't want to get too far into it because we talked about it on Friday Locker Room and on.
I was gonna say I heard you go over it a couple times this week.
Yeah, but all the pundits and on every dirt sheet. On every single one, man, from a lot of guys who I enjoy listening to. I know Conan and Disco probably won't go in because they got to protect him, and I totally understand that, as he's their brain trust. But not one dirt sheet writer got this right. Not one of them's talking about why this is a political punishment. They're making up these stupid little wrestling excuses of like, well, they didn't want to start him off on an undefeated streak, only have to beat him. And they didn't want, they're going to bring her in later and she's going to be the factor of why no, you're marks and you have no idea what's going on. You obviously haven't watched NXT. You don't know when shoot things are being said in a promo to try and get him off of his game, to ruin him on camera. These are tests. Then he goes backstage, promos the little dudes like a man of like, you got a problem with me, step up and say it to me. And as soon as which is what should happen, but as soon as he does that, the fly trap closes on him. They go, he broke for real backstage. We got him. Now we can punish him. Now there's heat on him because he didn't play the little politics game and just stay silent and try and get back at us in a way that would have been like, oh, he clapped back it up. Nope. He tried to step up and handle his business like a man. And that was enough for them to go, welcome to the island of broken misfit toys. You're now one of us and we will do everything to break you. And what does that mean? That means everything that we gave you for NXT with the entrance, with the girl, with her singing your song, with you being undefeated, all that is we're going the opposite of that and ruin you on the main roster to further test you to see if you will then break even more, bro. And everyone's like, this is what WWE thinks of NXT. What does Triple H think about it? Dude, Triple H and Shawn are engineering all of this with Vince and them, bro. They're engineering all of it. And not one dirt sheet writer either has the foresight or the balls to step up and say what's really going on, because they've never been in the locker room and they don't even know what level of shark politics this is. It has nothing to do with an undefeated streak or bringing her in as the muse to do that shit. When you have all this guy built, made, ready for TV, but then we're going to get 8 weeks of Eva Marie standing on a goddamn Mustang. And then, and that's supposed to be we're going to get a build like that for her with a debut that's so trash. Meanwhile, this guy's worth 50 or probably $5 to $20 million in revenue and debut. And they're not going to give him any pre-tapes for the main roster. They're going to debut him on main event with no music, generic music, no girl, no graphics. Bro, these dirt sheet writers are so either completely ignorant or just scared to step out and say what's real. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That was, that was just one of the things that I found that most strange. Over on Facebook, you can join us during every wrestling program in our live chats over there, Facebook, the Hamin Media discussion group. But immediately the first thing I said is, why the hell are they we get a graphic 1 hour into the show that he's going to be debuting on Raw? Just right there. Where is the logic behind that? Makes completely no sense. Let me ask you this though, Ben. Everyone's talking about, you had mentioned there that people are like, oh, what does Triple H feel? And you're talking about the reality of it, the sharks circling, the backstabbing that's going on, maybe the egos, the jealousy. Is there something inside of Triple H where he's okay if you fail on the main roster because it makes him look that much better perceived in NXT, that he could make you a star, but they can't?
Maybe, but I don't think so, bro. We're talking about an inner circle of sociopath throat cutters who will forego $20 million in profit in doing debuts the right way in order to teach a lesson. I don't think that inside at their Sunday dinner table, the Vince and Game are looking across at each other having silent fucking heat of like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Nah, dude, they're on the
Triple H. He could think, all right, this makes me look so much better because I make them stars, and then if they flop.
I love you, buddy, but that's Mark-ass fan bullshit. These guys are on the back porch sipping cognac going, how are we going to fuck this guy over this week? Triple H going, Dad, you're not going to believe they got him. They got it. He broke. He's not ready for the main roster. And Vince's like, oh, is he? Well, then let's bring him up. And then we'll send him out there. And they all have a good little laugh together, bro, to show that no wrestler is bigger than the McMahon family. And the biggest problem is how dare they do that while they have to answer to Fox and USA? They just cost for their own little, let's fuck this wrestler over and mess with his head. They left $5 million to $20 million on the table on a debut. You only get one chance to make a first impression, and them knowing that and then doing everything they can to blow the first impression on their own show shows that they are fundamentally sick people upstairs, bro. And the other part of that goes is that USA and Fox are run by incompetents who don't call up screaming going, what the fuck are you doing? While they should have been watching NXT and this guy's build. So when it goes like that they don't come down like they're the only ones who have the power to strike WWE with lightning and put the fear into them. And they don't even have a clue of how to begin to do that, why they should do that, or that WWE just cost them X amount of millions of dollars by debuting Cross like that as a punishment. They don't have anybody telling them why, if, and, or how wrong that is, bro.
So as a talent, as someone like a Cross, anybody really, how do you cover your ass? Or you just kind of hold your breath and praying to God it doesn't happen to you?
He didn't. He did what I would like to have seen done, the right thing, in stepping up. And when Gargano and Cole are trying to break him, and then he did it. And those guys are Shawn Michaels' disciples. And this is Click 101. This is exactly what Shawn did to a dozen people in the 90s. You think because he says, I'm born again Christian now, guys. I love everybody. That fucking, that he doesn't have that evil in him? Of course he does, bro. He's not changing at all. And this goes to show and prove it behind the scenes at the end of the day. So what Cross should have done, not promo Gargano and Cole in front of the locker room, because that opened him up. And that's him just being a man calling bullshit, but he doesn't know. He doesn't really know the wrestling bubble he's in after only being in this biz for 5-6 years, that you just went like this, cut my throat, please. And that's exactly what they did to him in the last week, bro. Now, is his talent big enough to kick out and come back? Maybe, but they've already done, damage is done. There's no one doing it, bro. So what should he have done in the wrestling bubble with the Sharks? Stayed small and fucking gotten over and finished his business with Joe. As soon as he cut that promo in the fucking locker room on those little guys, they knew they had him, and Triple H and Sean were talking to Vince to bring him up to F him over and going, this guy thinks he's over. He wants to do, oh, really, pal? He thinks he's over. Well, we'll show him nobody's over without when we say you're over. That's what these people thrive on, bro. That's more important to them than 20 million. And then does Game care about NXT? No. Game just cashed in $2 million more in stock, bro. He don't care. If that's what I'm saying, these dirt sheet writers, these pundits are so ignorant. They have no idea what the game is. As much as they see it or they want to report on it later, while it's going on in real time, they keep coming up with these complacency excuses of, well, he got beat by Jeff Hardy and you're done. Your credibility's done. I don't care if you're wrestling.
I will even say, like, I thought, okay, when I saw it, I was like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. I thought they were going to have Jeff show up on NXT. They were going to have some continuity through. And as soon as he didn't show up, I was like, okay, yep, this is all politics. It's all bullshit. Well, and some more news on that there. They had planned on the rematch that was going to happen tonight on Raw. That looks like that is scratched, as Jeff Hardy has tested positive for COVID-19.
And will he test positive for DUI in the next 6 months? You know, like more and more and more of just, you know, he's a company guy. I like Jeff. He's always been cool to me, but yeah, that's semi sucks. And there's plenty of controversy that I'm sure will go around that, because if he tested positive for COVID-19, what does that mean? What didn't he have?
The vaccine.
And what have we seen from everybody in, well, not everybody, but a couple people who are extras, and it's hit the sheets with the email. We want you to be an extra, but you have to be
vaccinated.
Yeah, and have proof of it all. So if Jeff Hardy has COVID, that means he hasn't had
a vaccination.
But it's Jeff Hardy, a former champion. So for you guys there who want to be extras and be the new in the Bad Bunny scene when he comes back, versus Jeff, who's been here for a long time, and he's Jeff Hardy, how these double standard rules of you better do this, and if you don't, there's heat, and meanwhile he can get that, and it's just an asinine way to even try and live life, bro, to justify it for these sociopaths who only want to see you fall. They're more into breaking a human being than they are writing a TV show, providing something great for their audience, and making money for the masters that are paying them, bro. They're more interested in the other side of it. And how sick and dysfunctional is that?
You know, really in the headlines, and like personally, this is the first I've heard of anyone getting COVID in like a long time.
Frank says he's 90% certain Jeff said he had the vaccine, but he got COVID. So what is that statement while they're trying to do a PSA of everybody get vaxxed and you can come back? Well, Jeff Hardy got it, but he's got COVID now. Well, that's because other people didn't get it, and now there's a Delta variant. Oh, more excuses and lies. Oh, please tell me more lies. Please tell me 15 days to the cure. Please tell me wash your hands again. Please remember all that madness a year and 80 weeks ago when you lied to us about that. But now I'm going to believe everything you say going forward because you have so much credibility and equity with me. Nope. The master's got to go, bro.
Here's something this just came over as a kind of searching for some headlines. Again, a little bit of a slow week here, but Will just sent this over to us in the chat. Let's see here. WWE and Blumhouse partner develop The United States of America versus Vince McMahon. It looks like this is going to be a television series or special. It'll be a limited scripted series called The United States of America versus Vince McMahon. Blumhouse Company will develop the series for television, led by Blumhouse TV president Chris McCumber. The series, The United States versus Mr. McMahon, will be the first ever scripted dramatic portrayal of a chapter in WWE history. I guess this is going to kind of relive the steroid
trial
era.
Chris McCumber is the former president of USA that left.
Okay,
so he's working with Nick Khan, I believe, to do these things. And here we are at the end of Vince's life. What does he want more than anything? To make sure the legacy of his show is preserved, or the legacy of Vince McMahon is preserved?
Well, Vince McMahon.
This is egomaniacal narcissism 101, bro.
Yeah, it looks like this will, in 1994, the U.S. government indicted McMahon, allegedly supplying anabolic steroids WWE talent.
In 1994, the U.S. government, right? If no one else can help you find B12, then you
get, man.
Hey,
Big Ray, that'd be a good voiceover spot for him.
Yeah, dude, this is a guy in his final chapters who, like any emperor, wants to be put over, when the reality is America made Vince McMahon. He's one of the real American success stories that there is of fuck your buddy, take over, knock people out, do what needs to be cold and calculated as a businessman while providing a service that people actually want. At one time, from the 80s to the late 90s, that's exactly who he was. And yeah, steroids, that was the classic America. Oh, we'll build them up because we want to tear them down. And they couldn't get him. And unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he's still living in that, to be like anti-America now, America versus them, where we all were the people like, get Vince McMahon in the early 90s. No, they would be now, though. In this cancel culture, they absolutely would be. So again, this is Nick Khan and upper level people doing pet projects for Vince that, I don't know. Are they really going to help at all? Is Vince just going to be like, where you been? Turn around. Yeah. Like it's almost sad, to be honest with you, at this point, that a guy who's accomplished so much still needs this, you will acknowledge me type of fucking feeling.
Well, I was going to say, coming through WWE, because this is released on their corporate WWE site. So they're going to have their hand all over this thing. You're right. I mean, this is going to pretty much just right McMahon is that emperor, that reigning, shining emperor coming in. Man, so many people are going to get buried. How do you think Hogan's going to look in this damn thing?
How'd that work out for Julius Caesar?
Oh yeah, who's gonna hit him with the shiv in the back?
Yeah, A2 Brute, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Yeah, dude, like that. We refuse to learn from our history, even though it's already written all the way out for you, bro. And the more you want to poke them with the stick, you think they won't come back at you at your old age and try and get you again after you poke the bear. They didn't do it with Bill Cosby. They didn't do it with fucking what's his name, the other movie producer, fucking scumbag.
Weinstein.
Yeah. And they don't give a shit that you're 76. If you can say America versus Vince McMahon and yeah, beat them, got them all. They'll wait till you're 78 and then they'll levy the charges against you. And then you'll do time from when you're 79 to 83. And hopefully, and then you'll probably either just get out on some technicality or because, see, we got them. That's all America really wants, is to stand over you and go, you were no better than us. You're that same North Carolina trailer park scumbag who had to go to military school because you were a problem kid in high school. That's really who you are. You're not a genius billionaire with all this other shit. You made some cold calculated moves in the early 80s, and it's nepotism because your dad had a territory. There was no real ground up build. It was just some backdoor cutthroat dealings. So he might as well run for president at this point.
Hey, if anything, though, a benefit for you, it's going to make for some incredible content for Master Shoot Theater.
phenomenal master shoot stuff, bro. And I just actually uploaded the new one from Mandir. So I got to get that posted on Patreon today, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Vince does stand up after going to Chappelle's show. He's inspired to start his stand up.
There we go. Plus over on the Patreon, you can get all the free content that you come to expect and love from the Hamin Media Group. Of your headline talk, your reviews, all that, they're available. For the time being, while the move is still in the process.
Yeah, hopefully I'm meeting with Vince tomorrow to see how close we are, man, because I'm anxious and excited. Frank's asking if I can do a gun safety and gun show on Realm. I imagine we could if there's enough interest in that as well. But yeah, definitely very important, gun safety, no doubt about it, especially in this insane society right now with people shooting each other outside of baseball games, or your team wins the fucking NBA finals and 3 people die. Like, just we're at the worst level of society in my recollection of my 43 years right now, man.
Did you happen to see Jargo sent this to me the other day? The police chief there in DC, he just absolutely went off on the media. He said, you know what, we've got shootings. We had like 9 last week, and not a peep out of your media. But because if it happened outside of this baseball game, now you're running crazy with this. Where are you helping us? How are you actually helping us solve these problems? I mean, he went absolutely off in a press conference there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, everyone's defund the police as a way to get back at the George Floyd shit, and they think everyone patting themselves on the back. Then meanwhile, in DC, broad daylight last week, 2 shooters jump out of a car, roll up on somebody, do a mass execution. They execute 2 people, jump back in their ride and take off. The whole thing's on camera, the car and everything. Still haven't caught them. Like, you live in a complete 1984 deep state. Every move, every block, everything that you do will be watching you. And we're having broad daylight highway shootings in 2021 alone, over 100, I think 117 in Chicago on the Dan Ryan Expressway, bro, of people just road rage, pulling out the heater and fucking shooting guns, bro. And that's in 7 months' time. Like, and these are the most liberal, anti-gun cities with get back in the bubble and the put the mask on and get fucking jabbed and all this type of shit, bro. You should see the top level improv people and directors every day who in my timeline who are just constantly putting pressure on and trying to make people feel bad and guilt you into getting this, whatever it is. It's not a vax, but so we can get back out there. Business owners, people who need people in the theaters to pay their nut are willing to toe this line because they're in such a bubble of ignorance, man. It's just like level 10. Meanwhile, they could look up and all of their arguments can easily be refuted with just a tiny bit of research of people who've had side effects, terrible side effects from taking this thing. They're like, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Oh my God, dude. From D-list actors and improvisers, I'm supposed to take my cue because you were the ones that opened theaters and shit like that. The level of complacency and ignorance is beyond anything imaginable at this point, man.
I saw a crazy stat on Chicago. It was probably about a week or so ago. I saw this. They have in the area, they have 17,000 law enforcement hired employees. But it seems like, but that's a lot, coverage. In comparison, there's 17,000 employed. There's over 170,000 gang members. Just that they know in the area.
Dude, just from 33rd Street, which is Chinatown, down to like 70th, it counts for 80% of the murders in Chicago. And I'm not trying to be like, well, that's the African-American black section and Latino, but like, dude, that's
a reality. It's a reality of it.
That's a complete reality. And that's right where Obamas are supposedly from. You know what I mean? And like, we went through this whole African-American empowerment. Now we're back to Bobby Schmurder, just people not even caring about human life whatsoever. And just, I killed somebody. I'm a shooter. And so I can put that shit on my Instagram and I'm fucking this fake ass little gangster who takes life and doesn't understand the precious value of your time on this planet, bro. Like, And that came from the black empowered president's fucking hood. Why aren't they down there doing Million Man marches every weekend? Where are those two motherfuckers to get their own hood in order? Instead, murder, and no guns, but make sure you do this and we're going to lock you down and da. Meanwhile, there's people riding around those 40 blocks I just mentioned with, I'm not even talking pistols, bro. Full AKs, Heckler and Koch MP5s, fucking jumping out during the middle of the fucking day while babies are in their mother's arms, fucking walk on their block, dude. Like the fact that goes on and is even captured to be on World Star and nothing happens, that's by design, in my opinion, dude. And they want to promote black empowerment, anti-fucking police, brutality. Let's start in our own backyards as a fucking start. Let's start with mowing your fucking lawn. How about that? You go down there and it just looks like a fucking bombed out trash area. And I'm not, this is going to sound terrible. This is going to sound terribly racist. Just even in my head, it sounds racist. But I don't understand this in black culture. And maybe somebody can understand, can scoop me to it. Black dudes are the coolest guys in the world, right? Got the fucking ill sneakers, fashion. They set the trends. Cars, spend tons of money on making them look good, giant rims. You go down to those fucking 40 blocks I mentioned in Southside Chicago, garbage everywhere, fences torn down, lawns that look like shit, houses with paint peeling off them, fucking boards. They got tarps on the goddamn roof because but meanwhile, we got 98 pairs of fucking $150 Jordan 1s. I don't understand how that pride in your self-appearance and automotive doesn't carry over into their community and making it look better than everybody else. I don't understand where that disconnect is, where it goes from like, all right, we'll have all this wrapping paper on top of us to make everybody think we're one way, but now let me go live in this fucking shithole neighborhood where we're killing each other constantly in our houses.
Well, I'd even say, it's not even, about maybe even race inside of that. You go to, poverty-stricken places, it doesn't, you don't have to be rich to still have pride in how what you do have looks, and how your community looks, and you can pull together and work like that. But you have so many, if it's whatever race, white, black, Latino, you see these areas there where they just seemingly give up on it.
The white dirt bags around me who live in trailers and all that, at least they look like shit.
They do. Yeah, they match.
Sit kickers on and a fucking Skid Row shirt from 1988 or some shit. They're not walking around looking like millionaires and then going home living in the fucking trailer. I just don't get that disconnect. And if that sounds racist, I apologize. But like, that's one thing that's always befuddled me of like, it's all wrapping paper. It's wrapping fucking horse manure and fucking trying to pass it off as something fucking greater than what it is. And then you open it up and be like, oh, okay, I guess what's really inside.
I wonder, I think it's a fair question, and it's something those are conversations that probably need to be had. And I wonder if it is something you can take your car, you can take your clothes, those can go on the move. You can show those to other people, where a lot of people aren't coming and looking at your house, your yard, the neighborhood.
But those people in that radius, so that those blocks don't ever leave to go show other people other things. It's for them. It's what makes them feel good. It's what gives them status and pride and is part of their culture. I'm down with all of that. I just don't know how you can understand, hey, one on one hand, and then just live in a fucking, roach infested, fucking falling down, dilapidated shit pile and acting like you're a goddamn fucking millionaire rat. You're just waiting for Kanye to come discover you so you then can go move out of the hood and fuck a Kardashian. Like, that's 95% of what's going on down there, bro.
I think it's a fair question. But I mean, who are we? We're just two middle-aged white guys. I mean, I don't get it.
Exactly. So why am I the one, aside from an outside point of view, to do that kind of shit, And if they're really about lifting each other up, why are they murdering each other for clout every weekend? And where's the big brothers to step on these fucking little 17-year-olds who are way out of fucking line and smash them down to that point? Where is the Obama program to save those 40 blocks, bro, to save hundreds of lives of young African-American men and women, dude, and to re-inspire and empower them to become not a fucking bullshit gangster rap, which rap is as phony as wrestling. And if you're believing in that shit now and have to murder somebody to try and get your gimmick over,
Well, is it you're asking, where the Obamas are? I mean, they're part of the system now that they don't want to fix that problem.
Then it should expose them as they never gave a shit. And somebody should hold their feet to the fire too. Like that they should be mandated and forced to go back and fix that. You ran the country and the world, but you can't fix 40 blocks in Chicago. Pretty piss poor.
Not bad. Let's get back to a little bit of wrestling talk as we're kind of on that home stretch here. Looks like everything we had mentioned, the Usos there, why maybe they weren't being punished behind the scenes, all this, that The Rock, it looks like he is going to be back around Survivor Series. Not really sure if he's going to wrestle there or just going to be appearance, what's going to be going on. But it's almost a done deal that he will be participating in a match at WrestleMania. Rock, is it big news for WWE that they got him coming back here?
Oh yeah. I mean, massive, if there's one guy that crosses over everywhere and is the type of hype that they need to get eyes back on their show, Hollywood wise, sex appeal wise, nostalgia, all that. It's only and Roman Reigns is at the top of his game right now where he is. I really hope it elevates Roman to the level of The Rock. And I think there needs to be a big push to have Roman at that Rock level in movies. So by the time WrestleMania comes around, it's not I'm up here and you're here in wrestling. I'm a fucking superstar. It needs to be world superstar versus world superstar. And we have the time to get that done, why not do something with Vin Diesel in a different action thing? It doesn't need to be Fast and Furious or somebody The Rock's worked with, where we then and that Roman works with him. We see people kind of like, well, am I team Roman or am I team Rock because of this? He's old news. He's the new fucking hot thing, old Hollywood, young Hollywood, that type of feeling, bro. But instead they're just going to bring him in to have Roman go over on him and give the Usos the push, and the tribal chief would. And I think it would be an interesting moment to have The Rock kneel down and give Roman his props and say, I was the man, but you're the man now, after he beats him, and show that the tribe is strong. I've been watching now that I'm in between Sopranos watches, Game of Thrones. How about the fucking Khaleesi marries there, the Dothraki? That's how they challenge each other. Like, we're still in the same tribe, but I'm going to be the man, and I'm going to kill this guy, and I'm going to take over the spot. We don't got to murder Roman Reigns or The Rock, but it's kind of that same intertribal warfare for complete dominance. And then when one of them wins, the other bows down. So that's what we need to play out. And how many ways can we do that on a high level, from Hollywood down to ancient tribalism? I think that's a great fucking place to play in right there.
I love how you said there. It truly is. You got to get Roman to that level in everyone's eyes, just not inside of your bubble. And as you said, I like when you brought up.
He's sexy enough, like you take him out of the wrestling bubble, give him to the real world on the cover of whatever magazines, that
GQ, man. You pay whatever you got to get him on the cover of that thing.
You get him, like, even though he's got the wife and kids, you kind of got to get that over too. Not that I love the Beyonce, Jay-Z, Blue Ivy expose on People magazine, but if you're gonna raise this guy's star power, he needs the movie. He needs to do the morning talk show bits, all that kind of shit to get to that point, and not sell out like The Rock. His whole MO could be, I'm the real Rock sold out to Hollywood, but you're getting the real Roman right now. And he can even heel on those people. His sex appeal is going to drive him, and ladies love a bad boy. So that's just how it goes.
Well, I think what would have been interesting is you mentioned Vin Diesel there. If you can get them partnered up, and even have Vin Diesel come out and feel like, yeah, everyone heard about that heat with me and The Rock. Rock's kind of a dick. This is a good guy here. I like Roman.
Love it.
So you've got that split there, that divide. Okay, Vin Diesel's weighing in on this thing. So and you got you picking your sides there.
And then I would go comedy while they're trying to be serious. And who would you bring in for The Rock with comedy to do something with? Two people.
Kevin Hart.
And
who's it? Farrell?
You could. I would go Jack Black.
Okay, because he's worked with. That's what I was trying to think. Because you had the Jumanji stuff where they work together.
So while those guys try and go serious, The Rock's great at comedy. You bring those dudes in to fucking cut the promo back on them. Don't even you don't have to have The Rock talk. Let Kevin Hart and fucking Jack Black cut the promo. But now we've got Hollywood heavy hitters. And everybody's elevated, bro. And that shit shouldn't be hard to get done. But again, they're gonna keep it wrestling stupid, and it'll just be The Rock versus fucking Roman, and it won't get over to the level that it needs to because they think they're high and mighty, bro. Vince thinks that everybody is watching this shit, and no.
Well, which would be bigger? The entertainment world, Hollywood kind of play with Rock and Roman, or the real sports aspect, MMA, Lesnar and Lashley for WrestleMania?
Rock is bigger. Rock is going to draw more eyes. Lesnar, Lashley are super freaks and legit fighters. That's a real testosterone driven storyline, which I love. That's what I would like to see too, a shoot fight and a fucking wrestling fight and the real deal from that. That'd be very cool. But the mainstream money draw is Rock's movie stardom and Roman sex appeal.
Would you do both of them at WrestleMania?
I'd do them all, pal. Get them all in here. We'll circle up. Would I do both of those at Mania? Yes.
I mean, we're talking, and you got Dallas Stadium. You're going to go over 100,000. Probably push closer to 130,000.
You had 2 years of WrestleMania with no crowds, really. You know what I mean? Regardless of the limited one this year, that you need a mega event, and both of those guys on there is must see for fans who haven't watched in 5-10 years. That they would buy that, bro. They would buy the cock anyway for $4.99 to see it. Now whether it's going to fucking stay up or not and show you both matches, that's a different story.
Very nice. Rock coming back in limited capacity. Obviously, in a big picture, you're going to get more of a draw, but just in that limited capacity, is that do more for WWE, or is AEW hit a home run with signing Daniel Bryan and CM Punk for?
Dude, go here. We are. Go to the mall.
Back to the mall, ladies and gentlemen.
Go to the mall and ask 50 people if they know who Daniel Bryan is. We know he's a great wrestler. He's a phenomenal athlete.
But really, what does it? I mean, does it help
grow?
Who
the fuck is Daniel Bryan, bro?
But you're going to have him. You think weekly for a long term. Will it help grow AEW's audience more to have Punk and Bryan long term than it does WWE for the short term with The Rock? I guess.
Yeah. AEW is going to go over on WWE here very quickly. And they'd be fools to not move to Monday night, but they do a lot of foolish things. It's going to bring back hardcore wrestling fans' eyes to AEW just for the curiosity alone of how they're going to screw both of them up. But they will watch, and I think AEW will be at about a 1.7, 1.8, and Raw will be at a 1.4 by the end of September based on that, because there's nobody in the WWE bag of tricks that they can bring back. Those were the two guys that the fans loved. That how did The Office feel about both of those dudes?
Not favorable.
Yeah, they didn't want to put them over at all. The crowd had to get both of them over. So that alone is the FU sharp stick in the eye of WWE. And it wasn't until they finally saw the money on Daniel Bryan, or that because of the shirt sales and whatnot. And then we have Stephanie doing the yes after so many of those back porch cognac meetings after Sunday dinner of like, that midget will never be champion in my goddamn company. You know what I mean? Like them just burying them left and right until it was undeniable of like, we can't leave this money on the table. But nothing he's ever done has brought him to the mainstream where anybody would know who he is or even look at him like a wrestler. If you were to look at him and you didn't know anything about wrestling and he's about to talk, you'd be like, oh, this guy is, social justice influencer who,
right. Hey, that's what he looks like.
Right.
I mean, that kind of is what he is outside of the wrestling world.
I agree. So why isn't he doing something on that level to make himself a worldwide name? He's not. He probably doesn't want to. He's made his money and all that shit. But yeah, that's not going to be anywhere near of having The Rock, a worldwide superstar. CM Punk, what worldwide stage has he been on?
I was just going to kind of twist that because we had a great conversation in our chat the other day going about that. His bigger picture is from the MMA, from his UFC time. That's short-lived, but it didn't go so well for him. So exactly. I mean, what's that perception to that outside world? Is it
so when Brock
detrimental towards wrestling?
So when Brock was wrestler and people in wrestling knew it, he went to MMA. What did he do? Whoop that fucking ass. Sure, he lost, but that solidified him as like, this guy can do it MMA, he can do it wrestling, whatever wise. And he don't talk, he doesn't need to. Punk goes over there as like kind of the millennial who got into wrestling because he loved it, but is not believable as a wrestler. Can he wrestle and put on awesome matches? Absolutely. If you stand next to him, you go, this guy ain't no pro wrestler. I could punch a hole in this guy's fucking chest, no problem. And then he goes to MMA where he needs to show that he's a legit tough guy, comes off as a Chicago comics lover, bro. Like he's like your average comic book dude who used his power. Not to say he doesn't train in the dojo and worked his ass off, but at the end of the day, doesn't have the fighter killer be on the battlefield. I'm a murderer instinct, that a Brock Lesnar comes strapped with. It was trying to play that shit and it got exposed. So his view to the world that's greater outside of the wrestling bubble is there was a pro wrestler who thought he could do it. Turns out that pro wrestling's phony and 90 guys could whip this guy's ass, no problem. That's pretty much what you're left with, in my opinion, of what you wanted to go to do to be mainstream. And then also to be the anti Triple H and WWE and F this and wrestling sucks like the rest of us on punditry, which he's not wrong there. But then what does he do? Where's his first comeback to wrestling?
Well, to the ultimate, I guess what Mark Company or whatever.
It was when he came back to WWE was that After the Bell show with Ryan Satin supposed to go.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
720,000, 400,000, 160,000, fucking
canceled.
47,000, 72,000, I believe. Then pulled the plug. So willing to do whatever it takes for a paycheck and to get out of his, North Side brownstone to get away from his wife for a little while. But the reality is the integrity and the payoff isn't there for a mainstream draw. Not even in a little bit. He's not a larger than life character. And I was thinking about this the other day too. And here we go offending. This isn't racial, but I see these guys at the gym with full sleeve tattoos. There's probably like, I don't know, a dozen of them. And they're in decent shape, but they're all 5'8" to 5'11", maybe even a little shorter. And to me, that is like the new of the last 20 years. I don't have a personality and I don't know how to get over. So I'm going to take this as my thing. I'm tattooed sleeve guy. And there's fucking every one of those guys that I see at the gym, and I don't know them, I don't want to judge them personally, but they all kind of have the same bland, no personality, and they're living vicariously by being like, this is who I am in the world right now. Yeah, well, let's wait till you're 60 years old and see how well those neck fucking tattoos and all that shit holds up on you, pal. It seemed like a good idea in your 20s and 30s when you're searching for what you are and you really don't know, so you decide to go down that road. It just, to me, looks like now the double sleeve tattoos and all that excess screams, I don't know who I am, to me, when I see that shit.
Kind of just a fall in line sort of deal.
I mean, how many guys got fucking tramp stamp Goldberg tattoos in 98? It's not too far off from that. So the new koi fish on your arm and a fucking samurai warrior on the other one, and all this Asian shit that you don't relate to as a white guy from fucking mid USA, but it's your spirit animal and all this shit to try and look like a CM Punk, who is really a comic book nerd trying to be a tough guy.
How would you bring in Punk and Bryan?
When it was time to be a tough guy, how'd that work out for him? Not too well. The chop wood carry water guy who could fucking crack a deer's neck with a fucking front face lock worked out okay for him. The little city pretenders, not too good.
So how do you bring them in so that they can make the I guess no pun intended here, the most impact and longevity?
I'd have them both on the same show. And there's a lot of different ways you could do it. You could even do it comedically if like you think, and it's the big debut, and like you think Punk's coming out, and then he does, but Bryan comes out the other one, and they stand there and look at each other for a minute. Like you could debut them both. You could debut one in the beginning of a show, and then a quick view of Punk backstage after Bryan opens. And you wait for Punk to hold him there the whole time. Not, well, we saw that, and now we can turn the channel again. So there's a lot of mystique. I don't think it's going to be run-ins or starting this stuff off. I think their star power in the wrestling bubble is enough to be like a massive And do you say tonight debuting September whatever, Daniel Bryan and Punk? I think you just say two major debuts and keep it tongue in cheek, you know what I mean? And when they walk out, the pop will be that much bigger as opposed to billboarding them as debuting that night. I mean, just put over you never know what could happen on AEW, but I think debuting one and then having the other debut in that segment and both of them putting each other over is interesting, because I was thinking about this, is an interesting way. Some might say you're blowing your load too easy by having them both in the same seg, but that's a major seg. And I would do first hour and set up something for the end of second hour so people stay the whole time.
I like that there because, Khan has come out and said that the network has asked them, hey, don't use these names showing up as surprises. We want to announce it so we get the viewers, but everybody in the bubble already knows they're on the way. So they're going to be tuning in, waiting for it. So maybe you announce one of them, and then you drop that surprise because the other one shows up.
I guess, but even that's kind of like wrestling. The people who are into AEW are dirt sheet marks. They're not like.
So they're going to be waiting every week. Is this the week?
Yeah. So build to it, man. And in that build is not for Punk and Daniel Bryan to get themselves over with pre-tapes. It's guys who now have a bitch that are marginalized to cut shoot promos and be like somebody who's frustrated. And now I hear Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are on their way. Well, what does that mean for my TV time? What does that mean for Hangman Page? Bullshit. I've been here riding the range since day one. I'm not here to give up my time for some more XW. Like that's where guys can get heat before we ever see Punk and Bryan. And then we can, instead of being like, oh, glad you're here, bro, we really needed your star power, and look at AEW New Day. Nah, guys should be mad that they're coming in and about to steal their money, paycheck, and merch money. And that's where the heat is. Will anybody have the balls to step up and do that? Or will Khan be able to book that? Or are they all just going to look like marks that now the real stars are here? So long, librarians. So long, Joey Janela. So long, Sonny Kiss. Like, you'll never be seen on main TV again. Enjoy having some dark matches. Like,
I'd say, luckily there's 17 matches of dark to fill because you're going to be there.
Yeah. And even that's oversaturation, because then it doesn't get anybody over. It really doesn't. Instead of going 7 to 8 matches on dark, focusing on somebody's storyline that may eventually get over because it's so good to trickle up to the main roster to be undeniable. But with 17 matches, wrestling. Oh, dude, put a gun in my fucking mouth.
That you say that, man. I can just picture MJF just going off about these two coming in. Like, that'd be the perfect one to do it.
MJF's time's going to go down. Like, Now you've got Inner Circle. You've got fucking what's the other crew?
Pinnacle, MJF's team.
Punk and Daniel.
Brian.
Miro.
You got the Elite, Omega, what he's got going on.
Moxley. Fucking dude, right there. You got what I just named. Then you got maybe Death Triangle and
Andrade.
You might have one segment left for original AEW, and that's your women's segment. And they're not using Serena the right way. They're not using any other Britt Baker the right way, you know. So there's your women's segment. Now that's pretty much your whole show. Maybe one other segment to slide in there. Now think about everybody you hired from day one. They're all gone, bro. All of them are off the main fucking show. Well, yeah. So
I can't remember what show you said on last week, but it's just the exposure that they weren't ready for television, and it's coming back to.
Meanwhile, they just signed one of the Maki Ito. What the fuck is she gonna do for anything, bro? You know, like it's just insane, these deals that they get for their friends or what Omega can politic to do. And even Omega's time is probably going to be lessened. I mean, he'll get, maybe not, because he'll get the rise from fighting Punk and Brian. So he'll do probably better than everybody else. But I'm telling you right now, if what's his name? Cyrus, Don Callis goes out there and tries to do that tongue-in-cheek fucking old school waka waka bullshit. Like, he's drunk, Briz. Dude, I hope he does, because Punk will eat him alive on the mic with that kind of shit. Like, all that carny, like, lowest level indie stuff, gotta be gone, dude. But you got so many people there who will not step up to do business the right way, or pull Khan back and go, dude, don't do another run-in on this segment. Don't do another jump up. Like, they just are so repetitive. Will anybody do that, or will they just get these high-level properties and ruin their value too? Will they be explosion match with more sparklers? Wait till CM Punk gets one of those. He gets to go through some cardboard that looks like diamond plate onto a goddamn mattress, and they expose him. Then what? Then where are we? Because it's going to happen, because they haven't fixed any of the amateur errors that they consistently do over and over again.
Hope in any other headlines you want to touch on?
Man, I mean, I really haven't even seen much. I saw there's a robotic basketball player now that was debuted at the Olympics, an android that can shoot half-court shots and three-pointers with direct precision. So, you know, that's where we're going with automated android everything, or where they want to go, dude, as humanity slowly slips away. But this is the type of wrestling talk and real world talk I wanted the locker room to be, because the locker room isn't like, what's on the sheets today? I mean, there's a little bit of that, but I want people to know what it's really like being in the locker room with wrestlers talking that real shit. You know what I mean? And
I think, you know, the biggest eye for these conversations, you know, across the board, whatever, you know, if it's locker rooms, if it's the review shows, you know, with any of our pros, it's a real eye opener for a lot of fans to sit, you know, to hear the reality of what's happening behind those doors, what's happening inside the, you know, the actual locker rooms, inside the office, the back porch Sunday dinners, whatever the hell. It's
that stuff with Cross, not because I want Cross to be super successful, and I know the money that's there. To watch them do that and not have USA screaming at them, you know, that's not on the sheets. Like, how dare you take, because NXT is a USA show, and build that property and then just torch it for no good reason other than to teach a wrestling locker room lesson, to leave $20 million on the table and blow a debut. Like, the fact that somebody's not hung by their feet and being whipped with a fucking, you know, cat of nine tails across the bottom of their feet is unbelievable to me, that can happen in today's market, bro. Like, it's brutal.
Well, let's see, like, when you're mentioning NBC, we're talking about the conch and all that, right now, so far, I mean, NBC, and for the streaming service, I mean, they have probably, like, never before have spent to secure the rights to to air all this Olympic stuff. And we're talking currently right now through the first weekend, 33-year low for numbers. With the deal with WWE, is there a trickle-down effect after you lose on such a bigger property like the Olympics of what they're going to invest in other properties like that? I know WWE's got that already cashed in on them, but is that recycles? You got to renegotiate certain things. Could that affect?
If your numbers are down, that means you can't lie to your sponsors and be like, well, 2 million people are going to see your commercials, so there go, we charge that out. Well, it says 1.4 million people, so that means, are you going to decrease what I have to pay you by 25% because that's what you just lost in your audience in the last 6 months? So why should I pay a premium price where I thought I was getting 2 million when the gamble is 1.4? And the reality is that I have through my sources is that you don't want to take care of your own properties to get those numbers back up. So why would I invest in you when you promise me one thing, but the numbers keep going down, but you want that same premium price? No way. So then, top level sponsors are going to be like, nah, I don't really want to deal. We only want to deal with people and shows that are 3 million and over in the 18 to 49 demographic. Like, when is the real punishment from loss of revenue going to hit? And I think that inner circle of Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, and the rest of them who keep doing these SEC violations and cashing in, they know. They know that is, and that's why they keep taking out more to possibly tank their own stuff to buy back and keep pulling shit out again, man. Like, but nobody's exposing them for that, and no dirt sheet writers hold anybody accountable for it. They just go, WWE execs cashed in more stock today. Yeah, well, let's talk about why, and is it illegal with insider knowledge, and what are they doing with that money? Are they reinvesting it through shell corporations to then buy back more stock so they can cash in again, so they don't get their hands slapped for securities fraud? These are high-level workers. I'm pretty sure they are. They've been robbing people for decades, bro. So whoever they've got on the payroll to cover that up, they're doing a good job. But yeah, it's a loss of revenue for NBC, GE, USA, whatever conglomerate you want to call it. It's all under the same thing. But like I said, we've talked with high-level producers. We've talked with program directors, and they all come off sounding like great boardroom corporate officials. But when it comes to actually doing business, holding people's feet to the fire, they're either ignorant, or they're self-indulgent, or they just don't have the acumen to deal with these high-level wrestling assassins, bro. Because they'll just be like, well, it was Olympics that had our numbers down. Well, Olympics numbers are way down too. Well, that's the trend. Numbers are way down. So obviously across the board, oh, it was Memorial Day. Oh, it was the NBA final. Oh, it was the Stanley Cup. Oh, it was the sure it was. How about the fact that you actually pay off the properties you've invested millions of dollars in the right way? How about the fact that you do business that doesn't make us look like hypocrites, and actually take a guy who's had 3 DUIs and either put that in the storyline that is far more captivating and compelling, instead of trying to cover it up and making your audience now, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And now their credibility is shot too, because we're all in on some weird icky feeling lie that we're like, yay, wrestling's so good, everybody, that we don't need to hold this guy accountable for his real behaviors. No. Okay. If that's where we're going, then you get what you deserve, which is a 1.1 and a beating, and probably Monday Night Raw being canceled in the most sad way possible, when it should go out on top and end the show. Like, we're ending Monday Night Raw on fucking January, or on New Year's Eve, the final Monday Night Raw, and start over with a fresh rebrand and a 2-hour show, and it's got nothing to do with Raw. Raw had its time. Vince steps down. Triple H is the new top guy. We're not moving towards any of that, bro. It's USA versus Vince. Yeah, it's just bad behavior that gets rewarded over and over again, reinforces that you can do whatever the fuck you want, and there's no repercussions. And unless you're like us and you speak outside of the bubble, how dare they say that? They'll never be in here with us. Yeah, big deal. I hope that was coherently able to follow.
We got it, baby. We got it. Yeah, I think it was a good run, a good start to the week here. And we got all the programming coming at you for hopefully what is more of an entertaining week in pro wrestling. But that's all I've got, man.
That's all good, man. It was a great weekend. Vince Russo on Russo's brand with Velvet Sky for the beautiful people, and Velvet solo show. Very interesting to watch the other day as she had Mr. Snarf, her cat, on with her hosting. So appreciate everybody who's a Patreon subscriber at the beautiful people or Russo's brand, SRTV. Huge win this weekend for our buddy Yanez. Adrian Yanez, dude, he had a great fight versus Costa. The dude Costa is a ninja, bro. Crazy kicks, super long jab, and Yanez ate a ton of them, and then was able to weather it out to the second round, hit him with 2 devastating body shots and an uppercut, and humped him over and then put the beating on him. Very, very cool. And go back and check that SRTV on YouTube. Matt Schaffer Gage, MSG, back in the house doing a great job with that promotion, man. But we definitely want to reach back out to Yanez and congratulate him. That was an awesome fight. Idol in April. I saw April was doing Comic-Cons this weekend. She just posted some new stuff. So glad to see her out there doing her thing as well as some exotic wrestling, pal. And I know Idol's working hard on NWA stuff, man. So we just want to support everybody we're working with. The A Show, Colin's doing great with that. Russo brand, Hamin Media Group on Patreon. Thanks everybody subscribing there. I got some 8x10s to send out this week for the $10 tier subscribers. So get that done actually probably this afternoon. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this coming weekend. I'll be at Immortal Championship Wrestling, Rome, New York, putting the beat down. GGP will be there. Blaze Aram's in the house. And then the next night, a New Breed Entertainment. Blaze and I are tagging together up in Messina, New York. And then I'm just working my ass off right now to get ready to go out and stomp some grapes, man, in Indiana. I'm pumped for that show, dude, to come out there at the end of August. And then the day after, right back at it in Watervliet, New York, Scott Wilder promotion. So big month ahead for Hacker, man, and looking forward to getting back out there, $5 face slapping some infidels and just making moments, man, being on the road. So, but appreciate you this morning, quarterback and everything as I went in and out of some insane rants, I know, but it's Monday and it's fucking the locker room, man. That's what the fuck we do.
That's what we do. Again, just some 2-man power trips coming up here. Got a Gary Spivey interview we're going to be uploading, and Justin, it's going to be out next week, but a little preview is Tom Latimer interview. That should be a good one as he sits down with Paz. I'm sure that'll be full of lots of interesting conversation and takes there. So it's 2-man power trip Empire on Patreon. We're going to check that out. I think we were up to like 300 items in the vault. I mean, classic interviews. Wow. You've got the Sit Under the Learning Tree of Kevin Sullivan, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Dutch Mantle, Just Incredible in there. And hey, you can even get some Ben Hamin as he does the guest spots on the Pro Wrestling 101. They've got their this week's your development territory stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, the Pro Wrestling 101, it's worth it inside of itself. I mean, you hear about some of the behind the scenes stuff here in the locker rooms, but to break things down inside the ring of what they really need to look for and what the hell is happening. If you want to go from that fan to, a true student of the game, right? Pro Wrestling 101.
Yeah, it was good this week. We talked about working levels, which is an interesting conversation. I really enjoyed that one, man. It's a great time with Paz. We're a little behind on developmental. We were supposed to have Silvio on this weekend, but in Florida, his AC went out, so they were brutalized this weekend, man. So hopefully we'll get the Chris Silvio on, our co-host, to light the fuse with me and MSG, man. But it's been great working with Paz. There's no doubt about it. And just keep producing more and more creative. I got a couple things. I'm going to start doing thinking about going through the whole Wu-Tang catalog, song by song, and each day just doing a quick 5-minute thing to start adding onto there. I want to get to the point where I can start adding more onto the Patreon, and while we're getting Realm built out to get things shifted over to there. So appreciate everybody's patience in doing that, but you know where to find us, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. You want promos, birthday, quit your job, whatever it is, tell your kid to get a job, cameo.com/Ben Hamin. Had a good time doing plenty of those as well. So yeah, Allah, man. It's the Monday locker room. It's RBV. It's Hacker Hamin kicking the week off hot. We'll see you Monday Night Raw tonight. 3 hours of pain and punishment. Smack Attacks up with MacGyver. Next Level Review with the Vet and Big Ray. Colin and the Vet doing an Impact Attack. There's plenty for you guys to catch up on, man, as we cross all brands here at HMG. You good, RBV?
What's good? Let's hit it.
Yeah, Allah, it's time to get a salad in your big fat ass. No more burgers. Time to work some of that grease off, infidels. Hacker Hamin, RBV, the Monday locker room. Ya Allah.